Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling, and you're watching Good Company. And today I have the one and only Mr. Clint Lowery. Clint Lowery is the guitar player of Sevendust for a long time. He's also got other projects like Hello Demons Meet Skeletons and Call Me No One. He's currently on tour right now with Seether, and I think he's working on a new Sevendust record, but we'll talk more about that later. So appreciate it, brother, for being here.
Oh yeah. Good,
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
How you been,
absolutely.
man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to be here, man. Yeah, man. Let's do it.
We got to do this again. You gave me this little look, man.
I was into it. I was trying to gaze into your eyes. I believe I love great question.
That was a little hard to stare.
Sorry, man.
No,
I'll keep them loose.
So you on tour with Seether right now, man?
Yeah. I actually leave straight from here, and we're doing a video up in Nashville. So I'm gonna drive from here, check in with those guys, do a video for the new single. They have Betray and Degrade.
Wow.
And then a couple days off, get my stuff together, go on. This will be the second tour we're done with them, man.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So you're not just touring; you're actually doing like videos.
Yeah. That was a last minute thing. I didn't know they were talking about doing a video, and it was just like kind of like my role is still on the outside, but at the same time, I think Sean just wants me to be a part of where the band is right now, and it's cool. And we got so much history in our musical community, man. We've kind of started doing stuff about 10 years ago. I met them, and then Dark New Day toured with them, and so we developed a relationship back then. And so it's really cool, man. It's kind of like it's always been family, but now so he wants me to be involved with that. So I think it's cool, man.
So how do you like balance working? Like you guys Sevendust is doing the 20th anniversary. You had some more shows.
Yeah.
How do you guys do the Seether and the 20th anniversary? I mean, that must be kind of.
It was funny, yeah, because it's funny because I was talking to my brother about it, and when there's distance between each one of those things, like when Sevendust has been off a long time and did the Seether thing, and it was really cool and fresh, and then like the next week, right after we finished that first run, we do the anniversary shows.
Yeah.
And I was a little like tired, but at the same time, I was kind of on, my tour legs were there, I felt good and doing it. So I didn't realize how different those experiences were. Especially when you back them up right beside each other, it's different, but it's the same. But there's Sean's a totally different front man than LeJean is, and the energy of a Sevendust crowd is completely different than Seether's.
Wow.
I mean, they're both really cool and interesting, and that's what I love about the opportunity is really being able to, be a part of this other entity. And Seether's done such a great job building their brand. So I try to stay true to that, but at the same time, it's hard not to put in what I'm used to. Like my character with Sevendust is different than Seether. More Seether's more laid back, and Sean's this big presence in front.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like how when you did the 20th anniversary, I was there during the Atlanta show, and I thought the Atlanta show was just going to be a one-time off, man. What made you guys decide to add more shows and do more of the 20th anniversary, from start to finish? Did you guys plan that the entire time? I was thinking it was just a one-time
Yeah,
deal.
well, initially it was, and then, like anything, you kind of put it out there to gauge it, and it was a success in Atlanta. Atlanta, we knew it was going to be a little easier because it was our home base, and that's where we started, and we grew these songs in Atlanta, Georgia. So, it was one of those things. We did it, like, man, they had the opportunity. A couple of promoters heard we did it. They reached out.
Oh, okay.
And there's a few reasons. There's the money. There's the fans really, it's what they wanted. So we've always been a band that catered to them, whatever
cool,
they
man.
want. And we love it, man. It's cool. It brings you back. I don't know about doing a long tour, month long, full thing. The Korn guys did that, and a few other bands, and they didn't. It's like they're not angry like that anymore. They don't want to go out and relive that emotional. Theirs is a very emotional kind of record, and ours is more just like angry. And we're older guys now, where it's kind of funny to just look back and play those songs and stuff. But yeah, man, it's something that's cool and nostalgic. And
that's cool, man. Well, kind of going back, man, to that first record, is there any songs when you played live that you didn't want to play, or was it any kind of songs that were a little, you had to go back and YouTube and figure out what was I doing right there.
We did. I watched these old videos, like I'm gonna watch an old school set, and there's so much energy. Like we're so all over the place, and we're just into it, hungry, and so it's kind of depressing, man. You're like, damn, man, look how into it we are. And you watch now, and we're into it, but it's different.
Right.
But we were just younger men, and so going back and watching that, I wanted to see what kind of spirit we had, and it was cool, man. And so there's some things we were doing back then that the songs evolved. You play in 20 years, you start doing things a little different, and then the original becomes distant. You change it into this new version of the song.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So we go back, like, I forgot. We're not playing the song right anymore. We're totally, But it's cool, man. I went back and listened to it and watched the videos just to recapture that where we were. You can see it on the video, and it's like the old school video where you see the date in the bottom, and November 1997, and that's always cool, man.
And you guys did didn't you guys do like a little thing called Sevendust Live and Loud or something like that? That's pretty cool, man. So was it TVT?
Yes,
you
sir.
bought a advertisement, right, on TV.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
It was like an infomercial.
Who does that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that kind of guy's got you, through mainstream, I guess. Right?
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
That was a unique strategy, man. Like when they did that first, MTV was it's a difficult entity to get on at any rate, and it was one of the good things TVT did, man. They're like, we're just going to buy the time and put it out there, invest in this cool video, present the band in the way that we want to present them live, and we were a live band. That was our thing,
This is way before social media, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, totally before any of that. I mean, what, it was 97 maybe?
Yeah, 97,
yeah.
98, 97.
So,
and then so from there, you guys went back into the studio and did Home. So what was that like, man? Coming off the success of your first record into Home. And with Home, you got, people like Chino. What was that like working with Chino?
Chino, man. I mean, we were burnt. Like we were young. We thought the norm was, take a couple weeks off, go and we toured 2 years on the first record. So we went in the studio. We were ready. Probably not, in the best shape to do it, but we were, we thought that was just the normal thing. We went in and did it, and we were like thinking about different people we were into that time, and Skin was one of them from Skunk and Nancy, and then Chino obviously was a huge influence, and he was interesting, man. That whole thing was just a trip. I mean, we were, younger men partying, doing a lot of crazy things. The song is called Bender. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. It was about a lot of partying, and Chino his creative process was totally different than ours. He would just hold up in a vocal booth and just, ad-lib these vocal melodies, and there were like these delays and all these weird things. He had his own little effects thing he brought with him. And Vinny, our bass player, he's a Southern boy, and he'd be out there in the control room, and be like, and like Chino's in the middle of his process, and he's like, all these weird noises and stuff, and Vinny's like, man, it don't sound that good, man. It don't sound good, and and so eventually it comes around, and Chino, like the third day of him doing that, he just comes out with that chorus part and the verse and stuff, and it just kind of came out. So. That's the cool thing working with these different artists, is seeing how they come up with what it is that they are,
That's cool, man. And you guys were kind of on a time crunch, weren't you? Didn't the record company say, you had to have this done within a certain time frame?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure.
Deadlines.
Yeah.
Telling a bunch of crazy musicians to fit in a timeline of any kind was pretty funny, but we did,
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So then from after your second record, you guys did probably my favorite Sevendust album, Animosity, man. What was it like going into that record, man? Because it just seemed like more of a mature. The song structures were awesome, man. I love that record.
Thank you, man. I think
that's a great record.
I think that's mine too. As far as what encompasses what we were, we found who we were during that record. We spent a lot of time on that record. We went down to Orlando for 9 months, just getting little apartments and just writing, and just looking back on it, it was so much more time than we allot ourselves now. But back then we were just going in there. We're still, partaking of that particular lifestyle. But we were, Ben's is a huge factor why that record is as good as it was. Because he just kind of reeled it all in and figured out what. Sonically, I think he captured what Sevendust really was. I don't think any other producer really got that up into that point. So,
do you guys feel as much pressure writing Animosity as you did the second record, Home?
Oh, I think it was more, man.
Pressure.
Yeah, because there was a lot of money being put into these records at this time. It was the most expensive record we had ever made. It was the biggest producer we had ever really worked with. And so yeah, I mean, there was a lot of pressure. I felt like a sense of responsibility. You know, I was in such a dark place in my, my drug abuse and alcohol, that there was this weird mixture of drive and focus, and then when I would be in the studio, I would be completely involved in the process, and then we'd work hard, play hard. And but looking back, it was just one of those things where we had enough time to have all these distractions that were coming into our life play out, and then we would spend most of the time just talking about music. We weren't even practicing. We would go in and we just sit around and talk about different things.
Did you guys know that what you were doing was going to be that special? I mean, when you were writing, were you like, this is some really good songs?
I think so. I think it was Ben's, the first time Morgan tracked drums, he played Praise, I think was the first song.
That was your first single, right?
And we were doing the drums here in Atlanta, Georgia, and the sound of the drums was like, okay, this is a different level. This is going to sonically be something better, even in the early stages. So it, right off the bat, we knew that at least the record was going to sound good. The songs were good. We thought the songs were good, but hearing the way it was sonically, being presented, that's really what we knew. We felt like this is going to be a good.
Is that why you guys picked that song "Praise" to come out? Because you thought it was it is such a strong song to start the album off. Because the crazy thing is, so many songs on an album seem like a single to me. Like "Shine," man, I love that song. "Shine."
Yeah, we play "Shine" now.
Oh yeah, I know. That's really cool, man. What was it like working with? Did you work with Aaron from Stain on that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's really cool, man.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's
Aaron's
really cool.
Funny, man. He came in and the song was completely written and recorded, and Aaron just came in, typical Aaron. Him and LeJean were really good buddies, and kind of took control of what he wanted to do, and he did this really cool harmony, and it was he added the perfect layer. It sounded like something he would do well on anyway. And Stain was doing great at the time. We're really good friends with them. They did a couple of tours with us early on in their career. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, he was great, man. He's pro.
I love that song you do, Christmas Day, on there, man. That's really cool, man. When's the last time you played that live? Do you do that on your solo shows or anything, or do you? That's just a Sevendust song.
Yeah, we do. With LeJean being such a big part of it, I love playing that song. Originally, I sang the whole thing in the studio, and then I just didn't feel like, I said, it's not going to be on the record if I just sing it. But it was a really good song. It was one of those sleeper songs where, like, man, the music's great and all this, and it was the last thing we did. And I recorded it, and LeJean and I flew out to LA to do it because Ben really wanted to put it on the record because it was a different contrast to what we've done before. And and so LeJean ended up singing the second half. We both sung the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then and Ben kind
of. I love when LeJean comes in there, man. That's killer.
He's so good, man. When he comes in that first, and I could never deliver that soul that he does. But that song it meant a lot to me to put it on the record.
Why'd you call it Christmas Day? I know that's kind of a big question, but
yeah,
you don't have to answer that if you don't.
No, I don't mind answering it, man. You know what? It was. I mean, to be as honest as I can be about it, we had. My brother and I, we come from a house, my mom, musicians, and our upbringing was a little wilder than most. So Corey and I were both touring a lot at the same time. We were just like really out of it, and we'd go home and we would meet during the holidays at my mom's house, and we're all just completely just out of our minds. But we always do these prayers, and we're all holding each other's hand. And my mom was going through some stuff at the time, and she was kind of like falling, because we were going to the house, and we weren't a great influence on my mom either at times, so she was kind of falling out during this Christmas prayer, I was like, and I just named it that because it was partly of it was because of how I felt when I saw that happening to her, and then there was this other girl in my life at the time that was really toxic. So first verse is basically about that experience with my mom, and then the second half is about this other girl. It was just really putting me through this really toxic kind of time during that record. And so I just combined those experiences, and it wasn't really particularly about a Christmas. It was just about how I was feeling. And I remember writing the music on that time. I think Corey was there, and we were always strumming on guitars, at the end of the night. And I tried to paint a prettier picture of it, but it was a dark time. I was doing a lot of negative things. So that Xmas Day was just the way I expressed that time of my life.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, we got a stage over here, so let's play it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
One step in the dark, touch her hand just to see if she's all alone again. Still she hasn't seen sun, but I promise you now, when she wakes there will be none. Don't know how she gets by, sleeps with a phone on her chest and a bottle that's still gonna dry. Forgets the day I was born, but if she saw me right now, she would hold me until we both died. And I could be the one who would die to feel you breathe. I can break winter rain, million pieces, so just run as fast as you can from me. You mean everything. I can't deny how I'll do whatever to stop all the bleeding that makes someone so rare, such a delicate one. She screams so loud that I run to hide from the sound, and I could be the one who would die to feel you breathe, but it's too far gone, and this love must die. And I could be the one who would die to feel you breathe. I can break winter rain, million pieces, so just run as fast as you can for me. You mean everything. I can break winter rain, million pieces,
on Animosity, you guys redid Angel Sun, man. So what was that like, redoing a song you've already recorded, and kind of seemed like you guys added a little bit more texture when it was on Animosity? Talk about that for a minute.
I mean, Angel Sun was that, obviously a tribute to Lynn Strait, which was a good friend of ours, died tragically in a car wreck. We felt like that whole experience, doing Angel Sun was we did not expect that song to have as much special kind of energy as it had. And we did it all of it in like 2 days. We wrote it and recorded it for the Straight Up project. And then we're just like, man, we really love to be able to go back and properly track it with drums and this big ensemble with the strings and all this. And I called up Mike Dolan and I said, man, I got this kind of permission. I'm like, hey, man, we were thinking about redoing this, like redoing it again and just doing a proper recording of it. So he's like, yeah, man, absolutely, just carry it on, So we did, and it turned out great, man. Ben had this really amazing guy do the string arrangement for it.
Oh, yeah.
The song just, it was just built for that type of, and I think it rounded off the record really well.
Oh, definitely.
With
you guys still play that live too, right?
We'll always play it, man. I mean, it's just one of those, maybe not every night, but it'll always be a part of our, typical set list that we throw out, just because it's people use it for funerals and they use it for any time when someone passes. It's always, people coming up saying this song helped us in so many ways, and that's the most amazing experience, having someone look you in the eye and say, man, this song helped me get through this, tragedy in my life, and that's what it's all about for me.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. You guys, that'd be awesome if you guys did like an anniversary show where you did Animosity from start to finish.
Yeah, it's coming up, man. 20 years, we'll do like every record.
Dude, that'd be awesome, man. So the third record, right, is Seasons, which I love Seasons. You guys had Butch Walker go in, and man, those songs are awesome, dude. I love Seasons, dude. Talk about that, man. Working with Butch, man. How was that?
Butch was like he was a full circle thing because he recorded the first demos of Black and Bitch from the first record. He did the demos there in Atlanta. So he was connected to the band in that way, and he was really thriving as a producer, and we knew he was going to be more of a songwriter, and the label was really pushing us to get a little more commercial and change things, and bands like Jimmy Eat World and all these different bands, music was evolving and changing, so they were pushing us to be a more song-oriented band instead of aggression,
Did that cause a lot of tension within the band?
I don't know, man. I think at the time, LeJean's always been more about that. He's not into the heavy stuff like, some of the other people think he is. He really
that's surprising.
He loves pop music. He loves country. He loves all this stuff, man. But obviously R&B and his background is there. But yeah, man, we were cool because if it would have been any other producer besides Butch, we would have resisted. But we knew Butch, and and Butch was, just amazing song guy, man. I mean, it was probably one of the funnest records I ever had because me and Butch just laughed every day, just about old 80s rock, and he's such a creative cat, man. So being with him every day, and Rusty Wallace was assistant engineer on it, and it was a great experience. We're in Atlanta. I mean, it was a good time. I was past the darker stages of my life at that point, so I really enjoyed the process. I wasn't drinking through that whole record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So when you guys did Seasons, there's also heavy moments on there, like Face to Face. I mean, you guys still play that in Enemy, which is an interesting video. But when you guys did like Home and Animosity, you had different musicians like Aaron and Chino. Did you guys want to have somebody guest appear on Seasons, or was that something you guys talked about? Or
no, I think it was the time where we had done it on 2 records, and we're like, man, let's just do this whole thing ourselves. I think there was maybe a talk of someone. Morgan's always been the advocate for that. He always wants us to have some guy guest star. He just likes that, and I understand it. But that record, we were just like, let's just do this ourselves. Butch was our guy. He was our guest. Like, he basically was involved in all the songs on that level and would sing melodies and stuff like that. So we were collaborating with someone, just not in that performance on the record type style, But he was the guy on that record. So yeah, I mean, essentially he was the guy that was on the guest vocal on everything.
That's awesome, man. So after Seasons, I guess most people know you kind of split with your brother and did Dark New Day, man.
Yeah.
That was pretty dark times, right? Going around there. That was around Christmas, and didn't you kind of
Yeah.
you leave around that time period?
Well, Corey, I mean, the whole evolution of Dark New Day was kind of like Corey's idea. You know, he started this band, and there was like kind of these ideal members he wanted, and it was his brainchild. And I was like, it was turning out so good. I'm like sitting there, like, you know, being the typical brother, like, I want in on this, you know, I want to jam. And so I'd given Corey and them a couple of songs, just of ideas I had. I was unhappy at Sevendust at the time for many reasons, that bands stay together for a long time. You start having differences, creative differences, and I really wanted to do that thing with the project with Corey. So at first I was initially trying to do both. Time wasn't working out that way. I was trying to change my life and trying to get sober at the time, so I thought this new band would be my way to do that. But musically, when we did that record, we were recording the songs and we did it, everything. That was a healthy time. That was great. It was one of the best times I ever had recording. You know, Troy, Will, Brett, you know, obviously Corey. That was an amazing ensemble of musicians. You know, and guys we grew up with.
Where'd you guys record that album at?
We did it in Orlando.
Oh, Orlando.
Yeah,
okay.
most of it. I mean, there was a few different processes. The pre-production, we would record these different places, but we ended up ultimately recording it ourselves in Orlando.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you kind of toured Dark New Day for a little bit, and then did Dark New Day do another album? Was it 2 albums they did, or you just did 1 album?
Well, we did like a lot of writing for 2 years.
Okay.
And we one eventually became a record we did with Dave Bendeth. He produced it, and that was the second official record, but it was never released through the label because we started branching off at that point. Everyone started falling apart. And so other guys got some opportunities to tour. I went with Korn. A couple of the guys were with Evanescence.
How'd you hook up with the Korn guys, man? Did you reach out to them, or were they reaching out to you? And like, how did that work out, man?
Monkey called me one night. I got a voice on my voicemail. You know, I was driving home. I was in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. And he's like, hey, man, we just got rid of this last guitar player. We'd really love for you to come out and help us out next year. You know, that record their new record was getting ready to come out. I'm like, absolutely, man. I love Korn. I was a huge fan. I loved everything they did. It was a great opportunity, you know. And
it's kind of like the Seether thing, right? Just the touring.
Yeah.
For that.
You know, the Seether thing was actually, it was the first time I actually talked to Sean back then. He had presented me with the idea of coming out with them, and I'd already kind of committed to the Korn thing. So it was one of those things where it came back around to have the opportunity to do it with Seether. And I think the Seether, they were more of like, Sean's more, lets me into the family, lets me into the clique, lets me into their world.
Right.
Korn was very, okay, you play guitar, you're not our friend, but you are, but it's like here's the limitation. Like, you know, there was.
Did you ride on a different tour bus with them, or did you?
They had cliques within without giving their business away too much, because those guys were great to me. They were awesome. But you know, I'd ride on Fieldy's bus, and there was Fieldy's clique, and Monkey had his own bus, and Joey Jordison was out with us. He had his own bus, and Jonathan, of course, had his own. So it was like these camps, and they could hang out with each other, but at the end of the night, you know, it was, you go back to your world, and that's what it's like. I was like Fieldy's pet, you know, which is ironic, you know, because Fieldy was like honestly one of the guys I didn't really care for that much back in the day, because he was crazy.
Was he sober? Because he wasn't
he was
sober.
when I went out with him, and we became really good friends, man. He was amazing. We talked about, you know, we read the Bible and all these different things, and spirituality. We talked about all these things together, and ideas, and going on these long runs in Austria, and like totally different Fieldy than I remember, you know.
Yeah, not the rapper Philly.
Yeah, well, the first time I met him, he had a cooler of beer, and he was like, yo, what's up, you know. I'm like, cool, and he was like, you know, if you weren't a girl, he wasn't interested, but then he was this real spiritual being, and then I always called him the angry Christian, because he always had this look on his face, but he's reading, I'm like, hey man, whatever. But he was great, man. He was cool to me. Unlikely friendship there, but you know, and I came completely unraveled on that tour.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you about. So you kind of, the wheels kind of fell off the bus, so to speak, and then you left Korn, right?
No, they sent me home. Yeah, they sent me home. It was the biggest gift they ever could have gave me, because I needed to go home. I was in a bad way, going through divorce, going through major bouts with drinking and drugs, you know, and so they really tried, and they had their own issues within their own band, and they were like very kindly, man, it's time for you to go home.
Wow.
Go get some help. We got to keep our ship together. They had to protect their brand, and so you know, I don't really like hiding that kind of stuff because it's part of my story, and you know, and that's part of what you know, and people, I don't mind. I'm around people that drink and do all that. It's just not my journey anymore. And I went home, got some help, and got back on track, man, and got my life together.
So is this when you kind of picked up the Hello Demons Meet Skeletons?
Yeah. Well,
that seems like a real personal album, man.
I wrote some of those songs in treatment, like, you know, it was just ideas, and then I rejoined Sevendust, and then me and Corey were talking, and Corey's like, man, let me help you do this EP. And he said, I'll engineer it and produce it, and I trusted Corey. It was real, you know, real basic. We wanted to just do real simple songs, you know, and then it just kind of went to his little studio he had set up, and we just did it together, and I played drums, and he edited and made me seem like I was a drummer. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he did it, and it was a good thing. And I just joined rejoined, so I wanted to do some new music. I wanted to put that out and just express my gratitude, basically, you know. So that he helped me do that.
I really like that song you do, Hell's Next Door, man. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. That was I was in an apartment, a really, really crappy Louisville, Kentucky apartment. I lost my house, lost everything. I'm living in this apartment and trying to get my life together, and these people partying. You know, it was an apartment complex, man. Every night they were over there doing their thing, and I would be sitting there, and it was like temptation every night. Yeah. So I just, you know, and just basically, you know, discussing and talking about within a song about, you know, life is always going to have that, you know, that
story,
entity that in my life with my musical career or anything, that's always going to be there.
Wow.
So whether or not I go in there and walk in is up to me, you know.
Oh, that's a cool story, man. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we got guitars over here. Do you want to play that song, man?
Yeah.
Your brother?
Let's do it. Absolutely. Let's do it.
A blind man sees way more than I see. The truth I seek always escapes me. A poor man gives way more than I give. A guilty man allowed to live. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's next door. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's next door. A step away from downward spiral, next door to a friendly smile that invites me in to kill me. So now where do I go for helter skelter? I don't know, but at least I'm still alive. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's next door. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's next door. I suffered through the storm. I sang a song for tragedy. Yeah. I need some wings to keep me warm. I wish that you could comfort me. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's next door. Lord, keep me alive to Sunday. Today I'm falling short. I have a cross in my hand, but hell's store. Keep me alive to Sunday. Keep me alive till Sunday.
So after Hello Demons Meet Skeletons, you went back in the studio with Sevendust for the first time, man.
Yeah.
Was that weird experience, man, kind of getting back with those guys?
Yeah,
I know they had Sonny, you know.
Yeah, Sonny was great, man. You know what's weird about it is like I joined the band. Like I laugh about it with Sonny now. It wasn't funny when it happened, but I joined the band. They just finished Hope and Sorrow. They were getting ready to release it, and then I came in. You know, so everyone was confused. Like Sonny was on the record, but everyone thought that was my, you know, re-intro to the band. So people were, you know, people don't. It takes a second for those kind of information to sink in.
That was a weird transaction.
Yeah. So our thinking was maybe instead of waiting, let's just let me get out there, get familiar with the guys, get our friendship back, and then do a record. You know. So I think it was cool. I think it was kind of abrupt. Maybe not the best situation for Sonny, but Sonny was cool, and we've made peace with that since then. But so Cold Day Memory was a big, a lot of pressure. You know, it was a lot of. They had done 3 records that I really, really liked while I was gone. So I'm like, I'm back in the band. I want to be helpful. I want to help them kind of rediscover the band. You know, and Corey and I had already been working a lot together through the HDMS stuff. So I was like, I would love for you to. Corey was such a good, easy person to do vocals with. So I knew he was a strong ally in that. And so, me and Corey always take the opportunities to work together when we can. Mm-hmm. We started working on Cold Day Memory. Corey, basically, we did that entire record. We wrote it all in Atlanta. We all got in a room. Corey was in one room with his little laptop, little studio.
I love how you guys documented all that too, man.
Yeah,
for the DVD. That was great.
That was like after, like there was a pre-production that we did where we wrote and recorded everything with Corey, and there were like amazing sounding demos.
Yeah.
And it was an organic way we did it, and it was all like everyone was really involved, and Corey and I would just work vocals. We spent a whole summer together just writing for that record.
Did you guys do that in Atlanta?
Yeah, we did everything in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So we went up and they picked Johnny K. We got pushed to use a producer, and Johnny K was there. We were like, all right, cool. We heard he did some cool stuff with Disturbed, so we did the record with him. Ended up getting Corey to come back up, and Corey tracked all the vocals for the record and stuff. And because Johnny, our dynamic with how LaJean sings and how we write and how we're all kind of involved in the vocals, Johnny didn't know how to wrap his head around that. And we already had a really good flow. LaJean loved tracking with Corey, and Johnny's like, man, if this is what it takes to get the record, because the music was already done, and we wanted LaJean to make the call. And
so Corey kind of worked with
LaJean. Corey came out and recorded maybe 90% of all the vocals, and I think Johnny went in and did some ad-lib stuff. But that was the team, and it really frustrates me that he didn't get the proper production credit for that. But I'll do like the Bones thing. I'll do public domain right now. No, Corey did that record, but Johnny K's great, man. He does cool work, yeah, man.
Where did you when this album was the first time I heard that low growl you have? I don't know what you call it, man, but the back vocals sound really good, man. Like when did you learn to do that? When did this happen?
I don't know, man. I think what's funny is like we and Corey were doing vocals, and I would joke around like, you try to do death metal vocals, and I always loved them. I did them before, but they were kind of weird. I figured out this way, because Corey had this compression on the mic right, and I figured out this way to just really basically blow my throat out. It was a cool way, and it came through. I was like, oh man, I always wanted to do that. So we just started doing it, and Corey was like, let me do it like this, but don't do it as hard, and I can use the mic a certain way and make it sound. So it was just cool. It was like using the technology to help me do it. And it was just, it's therapeutic. We would do those vocal sessions, and I'd be like, Corey, I feel better, man. Like I feel like our problems are like, it's weird, the therapy of doing those kind of vocals. I don't like doing them that much anymore because it really does mess your throat up. if you don't do it correctly. And
So do you do it live?
I do it live, yeah.
just
But
have to-
you know, you learn how to do it live in a way where it's not really pushing from the throat. It's just this. It's kind of like a falsetto of the scream world. You know, like I think there's a vocal teacher, Melissa Cross, that does like the zen of screaming, where they're screaming, but it's not like full throat push. It's like this
Yeah.
really undertone way that they do
I
it.
actually think I heard Chino talking about that.
Yeah, he probably does it. You know,
Right.
he's, you know, I know Randy from Lamb of God. He knows how to do it really well. But
And so after you did Cold Day Memory, did you do another Hello Demons Meet Skeletons record?
yeah,
And you, with this, you had the full band though, right? You had like guitars and
Yeah.
guitars, but you had drums and bass and.
right.
What was that like doing that?
It was cool, man. I did all that. Corey and I did all the acoustics and vocals together in my house because I was having my first son then. And then I had this other guy up at Architect Studios in New Jersey, just Kurt. He ended up putting the music around it, played drums, did programming and bass. So that was just one way, different version of doing it. You know, it was a little disconnected, but it was the first time I met like Mike Ferretti, the engineer,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
used that team. And it was cool.
So when you did after that, you went back into the studio with Sevendust, right? Black Out the Sun. Was that
Yeah.
your? How was that writing with that Black Out the Sun?
It was a little easier, man, because there wasn't that much pressure. We were producing it ourselves. Corey wasn't as involved in that record, you know, so it was. I think we started getting a little comfortable, and I mean, there's some really cool songs on that record.
There's a song on there, and my mind's going blank right now. But you sang it. Today I separate myself from all the. I'm trying to remember the name of the song, but you start off on that song. You're like, just full death metal.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're
I
talking about Till Death.
Till Death.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I love that. I love that track, dude. That's really cool.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's one of our favorites. You know, just live, it just goes off. You know, yeah. But I mean, that was a cool record. We call it the Architect period. You know, it was this little Jersey studio we recorded 3 records in, and it was cool, man. You know, really small, nothing special studio, but we had some good moments there.
Kind of going back to Hello Demons Meet Skeletons. This Day, I really love that song, man, and I really want to play it though, man. That'd be really cool, man.
Yeah.
Get your
You
like
want
brother
to jam
on
it?
there. Yes.
You gonna jam it?
Let's do it.
Let's see what you got.
How did you lose yourself and all you love? Give me 24 hours and I'll see you in hell. What's done is done. When my demons meet the skeletons, the world turns red. And it won't be long before the end starts drawing near, and I'm all alone. This day was long enough to fill a lifetime in. The sun's down and I give up. This world is won't enough to watch a nightmare live, and I hope there's tomorrow. You really light up when I'm down. I calm myself so I don't scream and really hit you home. simply feels his home. That sinner becomes my only home. This day was long enough to fit a lifetime in. The sun's down and I give up. This world is wrong enough to watch a nightmare live, and I hope there's tomorrow. I hope there's tomorrow.
So after the Sevendust Black Out the Sun, you did a project with Morgan Rose called Call Me No One, man. What was
Right.
that like? Running that?
That we were like, we knew we were gonna have to take a lot of time off, you know. So we were like all kind of trying to figure out these different things that we wanted to do and scratch any kind of creative itch we had at the time. And I've been really wanting to do some kind of a solo project, and Morgan, you know, is always, you know, really easy to work with, you know, musically. And so we decided that, hey man, let's just go in the studio, let's just write an album together. Let's just go in without any kind of really. I had a couple ideas that I did musically that, you know, just to kind of spark this, you know, kind of started direction off. And he was really into it. Like, let's do something totally different than Sevendust, you know.
So Sevendust was kind of on a break right
Yeah,
here.
we knew we were going to take a real definitive like year off. So we're like, man, this is the only opportunity we have to do it. So we went in the studio, the same spot we did a lot of. Actually, you know, it's funny. We did the Call Me No One record up there in Jersey. We kind of tested that studio out with that project. So that's why we ended up moving some of those Sevendust records up there. But we did the record. It was great, man. I mean, I would go in literally. We were, you know, set to record. Morgan was on drums. I was on guitar. We had the Kurt play bass a little bit. We just jammed out a couple ideas. Three of the songs, actually four of the songs, Corey and Morgan and I did. So that was like, we demoed it out. Like we did it at the same studio place that Corey had used before with Sevendust. So the origin of Call Me No One was actually us three. And then, you know, we did those songs, demoed it out, the label, you know, that released the Sevendust stuff, really got behind it. So we went up to Jersey to actually finish the rest of it. I think Corey was on tour with I Empire, couldn't be involved. So we had this Kurt guy play bass, and you know, he did a great job. And so we did it, man. We just recorded it, and we came up with a name while we were recording it, and it was unreal, man. It was the first time I'd done lead vocals before, but it was the first time I did a full record with full voice and not like anything acoustic.
You feel a little pressure doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it made me understand and respect what LeJean goes through, or any other singer. You know, when you have to cover an entire record, you know, how do you make your voice not get, you know, redundant? How do you make it interesting and not use the same melodies? And it's different. I write for singers a lot, but singing it myself and really developing myself as a singer, it was a learning experience, man.
Did you guys tour that record at all?
We did like a 3-week run with Nonpoint. That was humbling, man. You know, singing. I'm not a huge live singer. You know, I love going to the studio and I can write melodies and all that stuff, but it's a lot of pressure, and there's a certain confidence that singers have to have, man. So, you know, so I learned a lot about that too. It made me understand and respect what LeJean does, you know, on that side, to, you know, delivering these songs live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you guys are you guys doing pre-work on a new Sevendust album? With
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
We're gonna do another record in November, man, and we just started writing for it. It's a different era, man. It's like, you know, I'm touring with Seether, and so there's that. You know, I'm really focused on that. But we've been demoing some stuff out with Corey, same kind of creative team, and we're gonna see what happens, man. I mean, we're excited about it. We got a new label, Rise,
Yeah, Rise, okay.
and they got some great bands, great creative team over there. So, you know, this will be the first real label that the band's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And are you guys going to work with Elvis? Is that a rumor?
Yeah, I think so, man.
And Elvis worked with Alter Bridge, right?
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of good stuff about him.
Yeah, I mean, they're still kind of in the works, but I think
Mm-hmm.
I think the label they really want us to use someone outside of someone that we've already been with, you know, just to break it up, and they really push for it. So Elvis seems like a good fit, and we'll see.
Would you guys ever do something different since, like, you know, like Spotify's huge right now? You know, you can release a couple of songs at a time. Like Metallica, you know, they kind of released their whole album before their album came out.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever do anything like that?
That's what I want to do. That I don't want to do full length records anymore. I mean, I'm old school. I love vinyl. I love the whole presentation of a full record, but I do want to be open to new ways to release music. I don't feel like, you know, going in and taking a full year and this huge production and doing a full record. I mean, I believe in doing those, but I also believe that between these record cycles, just doing a couple sprinkle in some new songs.
Seems like Rob Machine Head did that. You know, he kind of made a big production off one song and just kind of blew up one song.
Yeah.
You know, but that's cool.
I don't know. It's different. Maybe that's, you know, maybe I'm never going to be one of those guys. Well, let's don't try it. Let's just stick to the old thing until it's completely ran into the ground. I like, you know, I'm open for new guys, new energy, and new release strategies.
Hey, man, I appreciate you doing this interview, bro.
Yeah,
It means a
man.
lot to me,
Dude,
man.
I love
Thank
what you do, man.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Thank
having
you.
me, man.
Cool.
Black jeans, black practice one of these songs, yo.
The truth I seek, it always escapes.